Hello, and thanks for joining us for another episode of The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America, where each episode we bring you a fresh and insightful interview featuring one of the film industry's top directors, conducted by one of their peers. You can subscribe to our podcast on Google Play Music, iTunes, Stitcher, or on our SoundCloud page at soundcloud.com/thedirectorscut. And if you're enjoying The Director's Cut, please take a moment to like, share, or comment. We love hearing your feedback. This episode takes us into the war-torn Nuba Mountains of Sudan with director Kenneth A. Carlson's new documentary, The Heart of Nuba. The film covers the work of Dr. Catena, who treats as many as 400 patients a day at Mother of Mercy Hospital, as the region is bombed relentlessly by war criminal Omar Al Bashir. His patients come to him from hundreds of miles away on foot, in carts, or cradled in their mother's arms. The Heart of Nuba was screened as part of the DGA's documentary series, which aims to spotlight groundbreaking nonfiction films for DGA members and guests by presenting screenings of documentaries as well as conversations with their directors. In addition to The Heart of Nuba, Mr. Carlson's filmography includes the feature film Special Delivery, the documentary Go Tigers, the television series documentary America's Most Wanted, America Fights Back, and the short films Diner Formal, Dating Avi, and Big Gus. Following the documentary series screening of the film at the DGA Theater in Los Angeles, Mr. Carlson spoke with director Chuck Workman about filming The Heart of Nuba. During their conversation, Mr. Carlson discusses how he convinced Dr. Catena to be the subject of the film, his unique strategy to get human rights organizations to help him bring the film to a wider audience, and the arduous process of filming with a crew of only himself and a cameraman.
Ken has done a lot of movies, and he's done these Q&As everywhere, not just for this film, for other films, and you can read his bio in the brochure.
Doesn't mean I know what to say.
Oh, yes, you do. Well, you know how to talk about this particular film, and that's what filmmakers, that's what's great about filmmakers, is they can articulate usually about the film. We also have the supervising editor and the editor here, and maybe they'll come up a little later when we'll have maybe a question for them. But obviously, the subject matter is so important, and Ken will tell you about this, but he's going back there tomorrow to shoot some more with Bashir, who is doing all the bombing. So, in fact, let's talk about that now. So, what's the deal with that?
Well, the correct phrase is I'm not going back there because I've never been to Khartoum and I've never been in front of Omar Al Bashir. But I am going back to Sudan, and I'm going to face this genocidal tyrant. And I feel it's something that needs to be done. And I explained this to my 12-year-old daughter last night, that this man, Catena, Dr. Tom, has brought so much hope to this part of the world. And this film now has brought hope to a wide swath of people in the world. In fact, we got it to the majority leader of the Sudanese parliament, Mahdi Ibrahim. He saw the film and said, "I promise you I will get this to Omar Al Bashir. I will show it to him. He's a good friend of mine." I'm like, yeah, right. He did. And within 2 weeks of that promise, I got a call from him in Khartoum saying, "Omar Al Bashir, our president, has seen the film, and he is now going to enact a ceasefire because of your film." So I naturally thought a great time to get in front of him, right? I mean, here's an opportunity to find out how exactly this film affected him, and I'm trying I would like to establish a humanitarian corridor, as you can see, is missing and in this part of the world, and I'm going back with that as my main motivation, and that's I'm going to leave there with some semblance of or some promise that we will establish that.
Yeah, and that's just an example of what we talked about, and where I think when I introduced the film, I mentioned that it was different in terms of the kind of films, because even though you're a professional filmmaker, and Kenny told me he owns studios that are rented out to TV shows and things like that, so he's very much a part of our culture and our world of commercial filmmaking, but yet he does what a lot of people ought to do, but don't always do, is he uses that income and that time and that facility to kind of do these kind of projects. But what I was interested in was how this project was basically, you called it a humanitarian network that of distribution, that you started with organizations. It wasn't like you were trying to, I mean, you did do the festivals and you will have a distributor, but you were very much involved with, as you said, with these institutions. Can you tell us how they worked with the film? I mean, obviously they were interested in the film, but how did they help you, and how do you think they helped the film?
Yeah, well, there's two ways I thought I could go about promoting this film and creating awareness for this film. One was to get a distributor, to get a producer's rep, and get a distributor and get it out in the theaters, or to rally the troops, so to speak, and gather some momentum by reaching out to NGOs, reaching out to Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Act for Sudan, Operation Broken Silence. All of these incredible groups that are social justice, human rights oriented. We did that. They saw the film, and the reaction was overwhelming. We want to be a part of this. So we assembled a 78, I think it's 78 NGOs that have supported this film, and we have gone. I was just telling Chuck that we have screened the film on Capitol Hill for Congress. We've screened at the Italian Senate. We went to the House of Lords in Westminster Palace and screened it. We went to the International Criminal Court for a lot of the justices and screened the film. So we caught fire in that way, and then we started doing small pockets of humanitarian or human rights, social justice areas like Redding, California. So that gave us the momentum then to find a distributor, which we have, and we're going to have a theatrical release in February, and we've got Content Media owns the worldwide rights now and has a platform that they're going out with. So we started that way. We knew people would react to it the way we did. Jeff Werner and Sarah Brockhoff are here, worked on it. We really thought people would react to it, but we didn't get that initial bite with Sundance, which I've been in several times, and we didn't get it from Toronto. So we decided, without that major launch, which I know it can do to a film because I've been there, we decided to go this route, and I'm so glad we did, because now we've built our army, we've built our believers, and we are now ready to set sail.
And the Catholic Church too, right?
The Catholic Church, the medical community, the Armenians. Tom Catena just won a $1.1 million prize called the Aurora Prize. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it was in Yerevan, and all that money is going to go to the hospital. But he is now a celebrity in Armenia. But there are pockets of the Sudanese, all over the United States. There are pockets of Armenians. There are medical. There's Catholics. There are people that really have reacted to this film, and we're going to build it through that kind of foundation.
And when you began the film, you didn't have all these organizations. You just had yourself.
None. That's right.
And how did you find Tom Catena?
I found Tom Catena back in 1982 when we met each other on the football field at Brown University. In fact, some of the footage up there was I chose all the footage for the football plays because I was in it. No, but that's when we met, and we had a mantra back then that we have each other's backs. When we play football, you have each other's backs, and we still have each other's backs now in real life. 30-some years later. So that's how I met him. I knew what he was doing. I was very aware of what he was doing. We lost touch. We lost contact for about 15 years. But I knew he was in Africa. He's been there about 20 years now. Been at this hospital this is his 10th year. He's in his 10th year. We'll complete it here this spring. So I'd always kept in touch with him, but at one point, they sent a truck up, a 5-ton truck with supplies and food for an entire year on this truck, and it was hijacked. And they reached out to he reached out to the Brown community, to the football team, and said, listen, guys, I have this major issue. The rainy season is upon us. We just got all of our supplies. We will not make it through unless we can get some of these supplies up. Within less than 2 weeks, we raised $102,000, bought him a truck, filled it up with more supplies, got it up there 2 days before the rain started, and that hospital was saved, essentially. So that's how I got involved. Then I thought, when we raised money for that, I thought, you know what, this is a good time to go out and see what he's doing. And I pitched. He came in town to win an award in New York City, where he's from upstate New York, and he came in town and he basically used it as a reason to come back to New York and petition the UN to get them to come back. Which, of course, he came back, had a meeting, and they canceled it on him. So I met him there, and I told him about my interest in doing the project, and he said, absolutely not. No one will be interested in me. I don't want cameras around me. I want to do what I do. And I kept on pushing him on it. And he said, listen, if you come out to Goodell, Mother Mercy Hospital, by the way, it's like a 7-day ordeal. He goes, if you do that, then prove to me that, you're really interested in doing this, then I'll think about it. I did it. I got out there, and within 2 days, they let me start rolling camera, and I got what I got.
But you brought your camera with you.
I brought my camera with me. And I brought a cameraman as well. One cameraman. No one else would go from Los Angeles. Everybody canceled on me. I finally found a guy in Nairobi that would go with me, and no sound man. So I did all the sound, and I did a lot of the shooting. And the second time I went back, I was there for 2 weeks the first time, 3 weeks the second time. I reached out to that same DP that went the first time. He said, hell no, I will never go back. Because, literally I was held at gunpoint. I had bombs raining around me. Everything that Tom Catena basically does on a daily basis. But that frightened that cameraman, and I couldn't get him back. But I found another guy in Nairobi that was deaf, dumb, and blind, and he went.
That's great. It's interesting because I think that people have a passion for a project or that is not a film project necessarily, but just basically a cause, and they just absolutely give themselves to it without thinking too much about, the ones that haven't been to Sundance or the ones that think they're going to go to Sundance. But but normally you just say, okay, I'll just go do this, and I don't care what's going to happen to it. So it's just another model, another way of thinking about documentaries, and in terms of a lot of documentaries, they're shown in churches, they're shown in meetings of interested groups. Amnesty would say, let's show a film, and we'll show yours. So it's not necessarily a film that would show up, over at the Sunset Theaters here. They're films that show up in very specialized places and of course on the internet. Now though, it will be distributed, so that's more good news,
more awareness. That's what I'm trying to do. Nicholas Kristof wrote 3 articles. I don't know if anybody knows what Nicholas Kristof is. Pulitzer Prize winning reporter for the New York Times. He wrote 3 articles and has raised over $450,000 for Tom. So far, just our screenings that we've done in a very grassroots way, we've raised over $200,000. So coupled with the 1.1 that he just won for the Aurora Prize, we're close to $2 million, our efforts over the last 2 years. So to me, that's great because it funds the hospital, it saves lives, but we're also creating awareness. And that's the key, to put pressure on Bashir and to make sure that people like yourselves see something like this and are willing to tell others, and perhaps be motivated to go on heartofnuba.com and become a witness, sign on as a witness, or write your congressman or congresswoman or your elected officials, or donate through the 501c3 that we've set up. 100% goes. So all these things lead to one path, and that is to create awareness, to get this problem, to get this issue to stop. And that's why I'm going back to see Bashir tomorrow. And that's why I'm continuing to put the proverbial pedal to the metal, because I want this to stop for good. Ceasefire is great, but tomorrow it may start again. I want it in writing, and I want a humanitarian corridor so we can make a difference.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
I wanted to. I'm going to open this questions in 1 second. I just wanted to put your documentary filmmaker hat on, which is got a lot of little badges on it, a lot of work. One of the things you do when you work on a documentary is if you have a character a lead character that's that charismatic and that interesting, and it's a tremendous help, isn't it? I mean, it's something that we see in a lot of the documentaries we run here. Even there's a lead, there's a star, and if you just think about it, and if you don't get that charisma in that person, if they don't communicate, so I mean, do you feel lucky that you? I mean, was that one of the reasons? There's a better question. Is that one of the reasons why you were interested in not just the cause, but you knew as a filmmaker, wait a minute, this is going to work, I think.
He inspired me. He's always inspired me. When I met with him in New York, he inspired me. When I brought this project to Jeff Werner, who edited Go Tigers, I don't know if anybody saw Go Tigers. He was the editor on that and did an outstanding job. When I met with Jeff and said, "Are you interested in this?" He said, "No. I really don't want to do another, a film about Africa, another doctor in Africa. I'll pass." I said, just look at a little bit of this footage. He goes, "Okay," obligatory nod, puts on headset. We were in Starbucks over in Brentwood, puts on put on a set of headsets, watches it, and he puts the headset down and says, "I'll do it." One of the, we always say that casting is such a huge part of filmmaking, scripted. And when you cast, characters for, if you want to call it casting for a documentary, it's the same thing. Are you interested in this person? Will you watch them? What do they bring? And what's unique about them? And what is their story? And how can they tell their story? And he just had all of that in spades. One thing he does not have, which filmmakers love, is he didn't create a lot of drama for us. He's not a broken person in any way that I could find. He said shit a few times, and he got frustrated here and there just a little bit, but he's pretty much even-keeled, straight down the fairway kind of guy. And I was hoping to see him break a couple times, but I didn't think he would because he's a nose guard. He's tough as nails, and he's a doctor, so I didn't think that was going to happen. But I was somewhat disappointed when I came back, and I didn't have that moment where he just goes, I'm done. Now he did, when the measles scene, he does get upset and uptight, and we utilized that. But still, he's just rock solid every day, which is what you want your doctor to be, and a person that's out there on the front lines to be. But it made it more difficult to make a film because you're looking for that quintessential moment where they break, and then they rebuild themselves, and that arc is complete or is larger than what we have. But he is a character he's just not fallible. He's just, steady, which makes him the great character he is, but would have been easier, I think, to make.
Yeah, but you had other things happening and bombings and things like that, so you had some help.
Yes, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, characters,
I think the idea that you have such a strong, interesting character is great to have that. I mean, that's important to any film. Let me see if anybody has any questions. And back in the back.
Yeah, well, the costs are still growing. I leave tomorrow, so they're continuing to grow. So it's a work in progress, if you will. But the film that you see right here, which is our final film. Now, if I get something good when I go back, we may put in another postscript, another addendum. But it is effectively done. The film, because I did everything as cheaply as I could, you're looking at $450,000. A lot of that was in editorial. A lot of that was in post.
That was mostly Jeff's fee, right?
That's
Jeff Warner's fee?
No, that's all deferred. Thanks, Jeff. Just kidding. So we shot for 3 days in New England, in Rhode Island, the state that I love so much, where Brown is. Then we shot for 5.5 weeks in Sudan, at the Mother Mercy Hospital. And then we shot a little afterwards in New York to get some pickups with the football players. So, I'd say 6.5 weeks of shooting. But it was flying economy, middle, last row, middle of the row, seat doesn't go back, back and forth, that kind of thing. That, and the costs, once I got there was no cost. The church helped out in a big way, the Catholic Church. They provided the transportation up, and I stayed in next to Tom in the compound, so that cost me nothing. Most of it came in post, but the numbers are still growing because of this next trip. But it's the ballpark. It's about that, under 500,000.
Yeah, but
Does it look that way? I mean, is it?
When he asked the question, I was thinking, they never answer that. So thank you for answering that.
I used to say it's more than El Mariachi and less than Titanic, but that dates me. So it's a struggle, and I self-financed it, and I expect to see none of it back. And I consider it a mitzvah. I consider it, bettering the world. And my wife said to me the other day, because I was, hanging my head like, wow, I have not, made any of this back. I've raised $200 and some thousand for this cause, but I haven't put anything back in my pocket. And my wife said, that's not about that. You know that. Get over it, which I really appreciated because we have to pay a mortgage. But that's what I am doing this for. I have other revenue streams that I can lean on. This is about creating awareness and affecting change and making the world a better place.
Great. Yes, way in the back.
Great question. To back up, when I showed it to the Mahdi Ibrahim in my theater, my basement, when I showed it to him, when he screened it, he wept. This is the Paul Ryan of Sudan, if you will. Okay? He wept. This is a man that I told him in Washington, D.C., I don't know if I'm going to show this to you, but if you come out here and I have lunch with you and I think that you're the right person to see this, I'll show it to you. After 2 hours with this guy, combination of MLK meets James Earl Jones, amazing human being, I decided to show it to him. At the end, he was weeping uncontrollably. And I gave him a little moment. I said, but I don't understand how you could react this way when it's your government doing this, right? And he said, we knew that we were bombing rebels and strongholds for the military, but I had no idea my brothers and sisters were caught in the cross hairs like this. I had no idea. The media is so limited there. It is so tight that I almost believe that. Nicholas Kristof said, make sure you check his tears for authenticity. That's how much we didn't believe this. But he took it back and was good on his word, showed Bashir, and Bashir reacted, as he said, in a similar way. I said, how could that possibly be? That's theatrics. I will find out on Sunday when I interview him. I honestly think that they want to use me as a propaganda tool. I'm well aware of that. But if I could get quotes, if I could get in front of him and impress upon him my desires, I'm hoping that will put us in a position where they will not, start bombing again, where they will hold the ceasefire and they will create a humanitarian corridor. Pie in the sky. I'm an idiot, perhaps, but I am a believer. I'm a person that looks at the proverbial glass half full, and I'm going to go for it. I mean, I went over to Sudan and shot this. God's honest truth, held at gunpoint. Thought I was going to lose my life in South Sudan. Went into Sudan, first drive up there, bombs raining around me. Thought I was going to lose my life. I went back after that. Why? Because of Tom Catena. Because the hope he can bring, if I can take that and spread it, I think I know the purpose of my life on this earth. What can they do? The retaliation is the rebels, the SPLA North, down in the Nuba Mountains and in the Blue Nile districts have reacted. They are reacting to this. They are rebelling against this behavior, but it's spears and rocks against Antonovs and Sukhois. I mean, they're rebelling, yes, telling them we don't want this, we don't want you here, and you promised in the Comprehensive Peace Accord that we were going to be separated, part of South Sudan in 2011 when it seceded, but he didn't live up to that promise, and so they're upset that they didn't have their freedom, so they rebel. And he's basically saying, you live in Sudan, in our country, and you are rebelling, so we have the right then to put you down. So there are rebelling, and people are, but you can't even begin to imagine what it's like living in a country with a tyrant. Think of, Idi Amin. Think of Gaddafi. These are tyrants. They run a tight ship. And think of Darfur. Do I need to say any more? Try to rebel against that. Did I answer your question?
Were there any more questions? If not, I have one. Oh, they're right in the middle.
Tom has seen the film, yes, and he, what's a good way to put it? He's not happy that he's the center of this, but he loved it. And he's thrilled that we're getting it out. And the truth of the truth is that he never wanted this to be about himself. He asked me to make it about the Nubian people. And I think I held to that promise. He is our through line. He's our main character. But what we did is bring it around, thanks to Sarah and to Jeff especially. We brought it around where it's the Nuba people taking over the hospital, because that's what really is happening. That's what Tom is setting up. So we try to make it more about the Nubian people. But the God's honest truth is, he's our through line. He's our narrative. But so he looked at himself. He's like, oh geez, But we wanted to go back and have a screening there on the side of the wall of the hospital, but that wasn't possible because they completely shut off all lines of movement of any sort of transportation. So we couldn't do it, and we still can't do it. But
okay, let me just ask one more question, and we can get out of here. You have to travel tomorrow, right? Well, good luck on that. I mean it. I mean, it's important that it gets in, and I think it should be in the film if he's going to say anything that's worth it. If you can still get it in the film. You were telling us about what Tom had to do to help you on the film and shoot some stuff. And could you tell us that story about the bombing? And that was very interesting, actually.
Yeah, I owe a lot to Boots in the Field, to Tom, obviously for the story, for his passion, for his compassion, for his courage, for who he is. But on top of all of that, this guy had the wherewithal during the bombing to run to his desk drawer in his office, which office, it's this makeshift.
You had gone.
I wasn't there for that bombing. I was not there. This was Tom ran down and grabbed the camera that I gave him, that he promised me he would shoot anything and everything that was important. Well, of course, he was in the OR, and the bomb started coming down, and he raced over, which is half a football field length away, grabbed the camera. Thank goodness there's battery, because he wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to this device, and he turned it on, and we got what we got, fingers and all, And that's real, and that's Tom, and that's how he is able to multitask. That's how he knew that he had my back. That's how I knew that he had my back, that he was willing to do that during that, because he knew if I called him or I texted him or I emailed him and said, Tom, did you get any footage from that hospital bombing? And if he said no, I'd ride his ass. No, but he had the wherewithal to do that, because that's how he works. Because he wanted to capture that moment, because he knew that would be the evidence that would really present itself. He hopes, in the International Criminal Court when there's a hearing. But he was able to do that and shot some other stuff. The whole measles thing, he's holding the camera walking around. He was able to get a lot of footage that we were able to utilize to really bring home the point that this is an issue that we need to really address, to really take seriously and to do something about. So once again, I mean, I saw him at one day he did 17 cases, from 2 DNCs to 3 amputations to, some of the most heinous surgeries I've ever seen in my life. After about 12 and a half, 13 hours, he stops down, he goes, okay, that's it. He walks back to the compound, gets out a ladder, goes up, and he scrubs the solar panels because there was a dust storm that day, and without the panels being clean, he wouldn't have electricity the next day to perform his surgeries. He wouldn't have light. He wouldn't have so he's all in. He's all in, and that's a great character, and that's a great person, and it gives me hope in humanity when and I'm thrilled that I know him. You want to take another question?
Was there another question? No, I don't think
There's
so.
two. There's one here.
Oh,
and-
they are. They had their question.
Yeah, yes. Right here.
No, we have to stop. We have to wrap, I think. But
I
you
can
have a
talk to you
question?
afterwards. Yes, there's two doctors that actually are from the Nuba Mountains. That the money that has been raised through Nicholas Kristoff and through our efforts are going to educate them in Nairobi and in South Sudan, and they will be returning. And the hope is that they will take over Tom's position, and then he will move into a role of emeritus.
And just what the last thing is, you said in passing, and I might have heard it wrong, that there was interest in making a narrative series about him.
Yes.
And who would
there
play
is.
him? You guys guess.
Yeah, you guys guess. Yeah. There
Who?
you go.
Okay,
There you go.
fine. Okay, thank you, everyone, and thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Ken, and
Thank
good
you.
luck. Best of luck with this.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for making that film.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. Don't forget, you can check out past episodes of The Director's Cut wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll have a lot more for you in the coming months as award season approaches, so stay tuned. Also, be sure to subscribe to our podcast to stay up to date on the great discussions we have coming up. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please like, share, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks again for listening, and have a great week. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America. Music is by Dan Wally.